Welcome to Subramani. Most of us dealing with senior citizens and real rich people, the ultra net worth, ultra high net worth UHNW individuals meet people who are really going to live perhaps little long and having a lot of money. Okay, let me just define. If a person needs say 1 lakh rupees a month to live for the rest of his life, and he can actually draw down even at 3%, if he can draw down something like 3-4 lakhs, then obviously he's got much more than what he requires or what she requires. So you do deal with such people and you realize one thing: they're not very comfortable spending the money, and that's not very difficult to see why. So first of all, the caveat, it is necessary for me to tell every financial advisor I meet, or to say that your financial advisor, not lifestyle advisor. You don't have to tell the client how he should live or how she should live, how much they should spend. It is completely up to them. But largely, if you see them struggling with spending money, you can bring it up and say, well, you can afford to spend this, you can afford to do this, right? So there are some people who will have a huge net worth, say 50-60 crores, and they've got used to using public transport. Now there is nothing right or wrong about it, but after some stage you want to travel in your own vehicle simply because of safety. You don't want to be standing in the middle of the road at the age of 70 trying to book a Ola or an Uber, or asking some younger person to say, can you please book me an Ola or a Uber? I mean, could be a nephew, could be a son, could be somebody. So at that stage, perhaps if you can afford a car and driver, it may make sense. Of course, people don't feel that it is necessary. Why do I need to do it, and things like that. So it's very difficult to push them even from a Ola Mini to an Ola Prime. So that stage itself is difficult. So getting them to hire a driver full time makes no sense, because they may be using the car only 2-3 times in a week. But today, yes, it is possible to hire just the driver, or find some driver who is available just for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours a week, and use him for that period that you need. Can this be done? Yes. Is it being done? Not really much, right? So people say, no, I don't need, I am happy using an Ola, but you have the money, right? You are going to leave the money to your children. That basic discomfort in spending on themselves, and the fear that what if I need nursing for. So the same language which financial advisors have used, oh, if you die you need insurance, if you live too long you need pension plans, the same language is played back to them and said, oh, but you only told me that I have to be conservative. Now these people have created this wealth by being conservative, by not spending much, by investing, the power of compounding, all the same language which you used maybe 40 years back, or somebody you are like your brethren used 40 years back is coming back to haunt you, saying, oh my God, I said all this, right? But now the strategy has to change. So 2-3 things which I told this group of advisors is to say, start giving things away when you're alive. There is no point in waiting till the end. You don't have to be 96 years of age to give it to your 74-year-old son. There is absolutely no use for him, perhaps. Maybe it is useful for your daughter when she is 52 and she is trying to fund her son or daughter's education or marriage or things like that. So when you have the ability to give, and your son or daughter is performing a wedding or education, that's a great time to be giving money away, right? Continuing this about when to start giving, it's very difficult. You should give it to your children when they need it, and when you can afford to give without hurting your own retirement. Yes, of course, you have to worry about what happens if you need nursing for the last 5 years and 7 years and all that. Will you have to go back to your kids and get it? There is no harm in having to go back to kids. Of course, I'm not saying scrap at the bottom of the vessel, but there is no harm in trying to start doing these things. The other thing where I encourage people to talk about is to say that after a particular age, when you lose your social contacts, it is important to get back to some social contacts and start investing in experiences, not in things you already have. You bought all the toys which you thought you will need, but start investing in experiences. Go and attend weddings outside the city, travel with friends, whatever is to help you to build your social contacts. Maybe attend musical programs, book reading sessions. Maybe you have a new mall coming up in your city, 4 of you get together, go visit. Unfortunately, a lot of this going out is connected to eating and not really to talking and walking. So maybe you say, okay, let's meet at the gymkhana, but we will walk for 5 kilometers and then we will eat something, rather than sit and start eating at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the evening and eat till 11 o'clock. Because then there is tremendous amount of overeating and inactivity, right? So find out whatever suits you, what is good for you. Getting people to shift from an economy class to a business class, or business class to first class, is very difficult for people. But I know people who will fly business class and fly their parents first class, simply because first class means right pickup from home and baggage being handled, etc., etc. Yes, it's expensive, but the question is, if you can afford it, why not? You have to also worry about giving money to children, and I would talk about that separately in a video for how high net worth people worry about their money very differently. But giving money to first round of cousins for their wedding, for their treatment, for medical treatment, cancer treatment, whatever you can afford to give, start giving. If your children are good, doing well, successfully, maybe they don't need your money. Maybe your first cousin's son needs the money, maybe his daughter needs the money. Find out who needs. So when should you start giving away to your children? It's very difficult to say, but if your children are in their late 20s or early 30s and they want to buy a house, there is no harm in you making a small contribution or a big contribution, depending on how much you want to give. Because you have already finished buying the toys for your life, you may want to buy them some of the things that they want. They may not be able to afford a house in the location where you are, so they may technically have to go to a further away place, but they may not be willing to go. So you may be able to give some money to make sure that they buy in the same place where you are. Largely it's a call that you have to make, whether they are being unreasonable expecting you to give, or whether you are giving because you have more, right? So both these things are possible. So but sometimes you also want to match what the other person is giving. Simple. If your daughter wants to buy a house and her father-in-law is giving an X amount, let's say he is giving 50 lakhs, then you want to also match, saying, okay, I will also give, so that my daughter doesn't feel that it is her husband's house, right? So some of these things, no, don't make it into an ego match and say, oh my god, I should also give and he should also give. Don't do that. But yeah, helping kids buying a house, helping kids pay for their kids' education. If your kids are older and their child is going abroad for studies, I mean, it's expensive, face it, it costs anything between 50-60 lakhs to 2.5 crores. So if you can make a contribution there, that could be useful, or any of those things could be useful. Or I know one person who takes his 2 sons abroad on an annual vacation, and he pays for all of that, because he says, look, I want to go on a vacation, so you can come along. So you choose the place, he gets his grandchildren to choose the place, and he flies down all 8-9 of them, whatever I lost count, and they all go, they travel nicely, they stay in a good hotel. He pays for all that. He does not pay for any other local vacation or things like that, but he pays for that. So find out some reasons to give to your children when you're alive. Use it for yourself, in the sense that, well, that's a nice way to force your kids to come for a 4-day, 5-day, 10-day vacation with you. So some of these things to build your social connection, to make you happy, to visit friends, attend weddings. Some of these things are ways how you can spend money, giving gifts away and all that. But beware that you don't want your children to feel that, oh, they are going to get it, and it's a loan or it's a gift or whatever, and they need not repay it. So make sure that they understand what you're doing and then do it accordingly. Thank you.